Hello, hello. Thank you everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank you for coming to support this press conference. As you can understand, we're in a very dire situation at this moment. Public education is under attack. As a result, students have taken up over the past year and they've made the decision to struggle to defend public education, and we've been met with nothing but repression. As a result, we've tried to strengthen our ties to the community, and we have a couple of representatives from the community here to speak on our behalf and to let you know what is going on, but not from the words of the media and not from the words of the administration, but from the words of the occupiers themselves. This incident is related to the December 9th occupation that happened last semester, in which several students barricaded themselves inside of the business building, now known as Oscar Grant Memorial Hall. This was a clear decision to make connections with what's going on in the Bay Area and in our nation in general. As a result, we've come to this point where students are now facing several thousands of dollars in restitution, and one student, at least for the moment, is being suspended effective this fall. The situation is no joke, and we think it's very serious. And as a result, we are here to tell you our story. So we're going to start with the press conference now, but before we start, I just want to let you know that we do not back down in the face of repression. So before we begin, I'd like to start with a chant that my father taught me when I was very young, and that's "Si se puede," okay? Si se puede, 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 se puede, si se puede, se puede, se puede. All right, thank you. Now I'd like to present Halston Chapman.
How you guys doing today? I wanted to start the day with a quote from Roger Alvarado, a veteran of the 1968 strike that took place here in 1968. He says, "I think that what you'll see across the state and across the world is the same tactic being used over and over again because it works. It's effective. It gets the point across, or it doesn't go on." And this is in fact the case. Governor Schwarzenegger himself has announced that he will not sign the 2010-2011 state budget unless it includes the return of over $848 million to the UC, CSU, and community college system, a proposal he made in January. Nor will he sign it if it does not include Cal Grant financial aid program. So the occupation of the business building is indeed effective. The statewide occupations, the statewide demonstrations, including March 4th, were indeed effective. And there's been many contradictions as far as the university in handling the occupation. The protest demonstrated students' financial frustration with representatives on all levels, including the administration themselves. The administration's response to this demonstration is even more financial burden on the students. It's a lack of understanding of the administration of their constituents. We are being persecuted for disrupting the education of other students for 24 hours. The administration's way to show us that this is a wrong act is by permanently extinguishing mine and the other 10 working class students' education in the form of outrageous, threatening, and punitive fines, and a suspension for 1 year, with the reapplication as a student in bad standing with the university as a requirement. The Judicial Affairs Office has misled students and been inconsistent in the judicial process. Dean Flowers says that his goal is to keep us in school. He told us that signing this sanction agreement makes us obligated to pay no more than $50. According to an article in the Express, up until April 23rd, Flowers has denied making any verbal agreements with the students about estimated damages. During multiple confrontations between him and the student protesters throughout April, he claimed he had never mentioned specific dollar amounts. In the SF Chronicle on April 23rd, he says, Dean Flowers, "I apologize to the students and to the administrators who had made decisions and statements based on my conflicting statements," admitting that he had made verbal agreements. I was able to sign the sanction agreement at any point leading up to my hearing, an agreement that has now been violated by the Office of Judicial Affairs. I've yet to receive an apology from Dr. Flowers. I've only been told by him that he will not discuss the reopening of my judicial case with me based on his misguided information. We requested an itemized list of damages. We're being collectively charged over $8,000. We have not received this list, but following our request, the amount was reduced to $463 per person. I believe so because they cannot back these outrageous fines. They have no proof, they have no receipts, no invoices, nothing to back them.
I was punished for asking to be heard. I violated the same so-called rules as the other occupiers. My punishment is harsher only because I asked for my democratic right to be heard. This demonstrates that the university discourages students to speak up if they have a grievance and creates and enforces an oppressive dynamic that contradicts the university's publicly made commitments. I found a pamphlet here in the Office of Judicial Affairs yesterday. It starts off by saying, just like the city of San Francisco, SF State is known for valuing activism, social engagement, and service to the community. Also, on the Judicial Affairs Office website, their philosophy quotes, "To arrive at the desired state, discipline must be used as a tool in conjunction with mature guidance rather than a threat or punishment for punishment's sake. Primarily, discipline should be educative and preventative. Of course, certain sanctions or restrictions are employed. We as education disciplinarians attempt to find out why the students misbehave. Thus, after finding their motive, we explain the reason the regulations or rules exist. We appeal to the student's sense of reason and responsibility. I only ask to the university is to be true to what you're saying on paper. The campus and the greater community has shown their discontent with the administration's contradictory actions. We've collected hundreds of student protests, student groups, the Black Student Union, the General Union of Palestinian Students, Student Union Power, the La Raza, LAST have all supported our efforts. The CFA has also drafted a letter in the school newspaper voicing their discontent. Representatives from Local 2 are here to represent and express their discontent as well. The ACLU has also drafted a letter expressing their discontent. So discontent around the board. The SF Labor Council has decided, a subcommittee in the SF Labor Council has decided to draft a resolution condemning the administration's actions. We as students, staff, and faculty in the middle of this contradiction must demand that all 11 students be given a joint hearing in which the university recognizes the occupation of the business building as a legitimate and effective political protest, something that the university claims to cherish. Thank you.